In gang stalking, the perpetrators communicate with you indirectly, which means that they talk about you and they talk about things that you relate to when they're talking to someone else. For example, let's say that you're overweight, and that is one of the points that gang stalkers are trying to use to make you feel bad. So they would come and ask you, hey, what do you think of that Honda character from Street Fighter? The question about the Honda character would include a mocking laugh, and there would be absolutely no other context. So there would not be any type of context or any reason behind the question, behind the Honda character. And if you ask them, they're gonna be like, oh, I was just wondering. But if you're the target, you're gonna know. You just are gonna know because there was absolutely no reason that anyone should have asked you that. Also, because there's so many people involved, everyone is gonna start saying the word fat or bringing up concepts and ideas about circles maybe, or they're gonna talk about fat people. They're going to start perhaps asking you how much you weigh and maybe talking about how unhealthy that is, but not with a intention of care, but with an intention of actually mocking you. Or they would be asking you things such as, hey, do you think that I look fat? Like that. So even though they are referring to themselves, they are actually talking about you. So the person that would ask you that, if you think they're fat, they would actually like be skinny. And like obviously not fat, but they would ask you with the intention of harassing you, which is what is super tricky about gang stalking. That they will ask you questions and you know that they know the answer, such as being skinny, but asking you if you think they're fat. So the way that the word is asked or the way that the question is asked has a lot to do with the message that is said. Like someone can say something but mean the direct opposite of what they're saying. So what this type of harassment in the mind of the target does is that whenever the target hears the word, the target's mind will go right into the moment where they felt, oh, I feel fat. And if there was a visual experience where they saw themselves in the mirror, that word is going to actually pull up the image of the thing that they saw into their optic nerve. Like the target is going to see it in their imagination. And when this is done a lot, at the moment that the target hears the word fat, it's gonna automatically pull up the memory and the image into the mind's eye, which is where the toughest part of the torture in gang stalking is. It is that you're conditioned to imagine like a negative image of yourself or have a bad thought every time you hear a particular word. And even if the person that says the word fat, is not involved in gang stalking, only hearing the word will actually pull up the image, the negative image of yourself looking fat. So what that's gonna happen is that wherever you are and anyone says it, it's gonna pull up the image and you're gonna feel and you're gonna know that the person that said the word said it in spite of you, and the person that said it is a gang stalker. So when people talk indirectly about you, there is a type of mechanism in the mind of people that is developed, like a type of thought habit. For example, like someone says the word hard, and let's assume that you're having erectile dysfunction problems. So even though the person didn't intend to attack you, the fact that you were attacked in so many ways indirectly, that's going to give you the impression that the person that said the word hard is actually mocking you about your erectile dysfunction. So your mind is gonna do this thing where, like, once you hear hard, it's gonna kind of go onto your mind, and you yourself are gonna start looking for an experience that matches the word that the person said. Because you're so convinced that everyone is talking indirectly about you and that everyone knows your business, your mind is gonna automatically try to fit in the parts. Your mind is gonna demand a complete image. So you yourself are going to actively search for a moment where the word hard applies to you, and then you're gonna find how the word hard applies to you indirectly. because they're a gang stalker in your mind. And you're gonna think, oh, I cannot get hurt anymore. So then you're gonna feel like anger because you feel that the person is attacking you indirectly. So when a lot of people attack you indirectly, that's the effect, is that you get so used to people talking indirectly about you that there's going to be a point where you're going to be absolutely convinced that literally everyone around you is talking indirectly about you. Everyone is talking in double entendres. Double entendre means that something has two meanings. Typically, one is of a sexual nature, FYI. So it is a way of interpreting reality that is actually being imposed onto your mind. That's why it's going to feel like everyone is talking about you, because you probably had a lot of people talking about you around you for a long time. Like, I worked at a job where the customers and my coworkers were gang stalkers, and I endured that for 3 years. So once you're exposed to such type of harassment, you start interpreting everyone like that, because literally everyone was talking indirectly about you. So you get in the habit of interpreting things as if they were about you is a habit that is formed by gang stalk. This is something really tough to explain, but you're going to start interpreting everyone else's speech as it being about you until about you until the programming wears off, or until you are exposed enough to people that are not talking indirectly about you. So if you're the target, just know that you're probably surrounded by a lot of people who are talking about you purposely until the programming kind of settles. And when the programming settles, you're going to start interpreting your reality like if everyone is a gang stalker. And the toughest thing to see in gang stalking is that in gang stalking, you're kind of winded up in the way that you are programmed or harassed so much that you change how you interpret your reality. And when that happens, you are programmed. So you're gonna know that everyone around you is a gang stalker. And the truth of the matter is that in gang stalking, so many people are involved that if you tell anyone, no one is gonna believe you, because the person that you tell is gonna probably be a gang stalker. I'm not kidding. And like in San Diego, literally everyone around me knew that I was getting gang stalked. Everyone knew. Everyone. And whatever. I didn't care. But it's something that everyone knows. And you're better off not saying anything to anyone, because the moment that you do, you're gonna be called crazy. Not because you're crazy, but because they're part of the game. Anyway, so steps 1 through 10 are still going on. So right now, subscribe and share and like the videos. So that is exactly how in gang stalking, your perception of the speech of other people is changed, is by literally imposing a lot of talk about you indirectly. And then it's actually gonna stop. But not because you're not surrounded by gang stalkers, but because the programming has been done. So now you will be interpreting everything that people are saying as part of gang stalk. Anyways, this was step 11. It was how to make the target interpret speech or conversations amongst other people as indirect conversations about the target. Okay? Bye. Have a good one.